Awesome. So, happy Wednesday, everybody, and welcome to another episode of DMI Live. I am your host, Baron Capers, here representing Digital Media Institute in Shreveport, Louisiana. Awesome. So, we'll have a special guest, Ben Burrell, VFX director of Cosmic Pictures. They do some fantastic stuff. If you guys have not seen it, check them out. We'll be leaving a link to their website up there so you guys can see their work. And then when Ben jumps on, we'll be looking at some of their fantastic demo reels. I got a chance to look at some of the stuff they did yesterday, and let me tell you, you'll be really impressed. I was impressed with one of their shows called Painting the Town. I got a chance to look at that preview, and it's about this guy going around, this artist, and he's meeting all these individual people. He's meeting these unique individuals from different towns and finding history about them, like the history of what was it, Boston and Pencil. What happened? Somebody got all right. We're still on. So, like I said, we found out some history about the cities that the artist went to, like Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania and Boston, different places of that nature. And at the end of it, what he'll do is like he'll sketch out the people, and then at the end of it, he will paint out an entire scene filled with all the sketches and all of the. There we go. Awesome. So Ben, thank you for joining us. How you doing?
Good, good.
Awesome, awesome. So I was telling everybody about cosmic pictures,
Yeah.
and one of the I just started talking about painting the town. One of the series that I saw on your website, and I was telling our viewers about it and stuff, and saying how I think that's a very unique show, and I really do like it. I think it brings a lot of emotion into like what into our society and what we need right now. I think art always has a way of bridging a gap between like something negative and positive, you know.
Yeah, I thought that the concept of the show is great, where Eric travels around and spends like a couple of days finding good things about a town and interviewing people and then building a piece of artwork to commemorate the positives. Definitely like a positive building kind of show, I think. Is really cool. Making people feel good about their hometown and
Exactly.
at the same time advertising it to potential tourists to come check it out.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. I saw the painting that he did. It had like all the stuff in there. The guy with with the cinnamon rolls, the butcher over here, the hair cutter over there. Yeah, and then like bridges and stuff all in the back. Everything that you would like want to see in that particular city, he had painted it. You know, and they did a good job too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Working with, yeah.
He's got a lot of those. He's done.
Does he? It's like all over, like please. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Is he up there with you guys, or are the paintings around like your office or anything?
No, he has. So it's a separate company. Okay. Dowdle Art, I think he has there's an entire warehouse full of. They do a lot of puzzles. So
yeah.
They send him out to Costco, and I think during the pandemic, I think he sold more puzzles than his entire than he's ever sold in the history of the company.
Yes, I remember going to like some department stores, and like the puzzle aisle would be completely empty, you know. You have to have something to do during this time, you know, if you don't have like access to internet or video games. There's always a puzzle.
Yeah, it's funny. It's the things that sell out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And board games were another thing that I didn't see. Like no operations, tic-tac-toe, battleship, all of them are gone. Yeah. So Ben, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? If you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I started out as an animator. Let's see, 2005, I think, at a small company in North Carolina. So not too far away from where you guys are. And we worked on an animated feature and then I worked on another animated feature after that, and then moved uh, back to Utah. That's where my family is, my wife's family. So we decided to try and make it stick here. I've never been a fan of LA for traffic reasons.
Yes.
So we thought, well, see if we can make it work in Utah. And so what I've done is build the visual effects department at Cosmic, and we primarily work on things that shoot here. So if there's a tax incentive money for production work here, then we are pretty good chance that we'll be able to pick up the post for it. So
Right.
like Westworld shot here, and we were able to pick up some work on Westworld, and that the Dwight in Shining Armor shot here, and we were able to pick up post work for it. So we found a little bit of a niche there in the tax incentive push, where if company shoots here, they get tax incentives, and then they get an additional bonus if they do post work as well. So that that's kind of the only time we get work, is because of the incentive. It's a double-edged sword. If the incentive is for Georgia, then the work goes to Georgia. So we don't get the work. We've bid on a lot of projects that had production in Georgia or had production in LA, and when the question comes to tax incentives, that's a deal breaker. So the business side of things is tough.
Yeah, that's the bad side of it right there. That's happened to a lot of cities. It happened here once too. I mean, once the tax incentives and stuff run out, that's when industry runs out too, I guess.
Yeah. So while we have it, it's opened carved out a little niche for production work for us, where I don't have to go live in LA, but I can live here and then do projects that shoot here. And then we do a lot of commercial work as well.
Cool.
So between the TV shows that shoot here, movies that shoot here, and then the commercial work, that keeps us pretty busy.
Keeps you busy. Yeah. So, tell us about some of your shows that shot there. I know you said Westworld and The White and Shining Armor. Do you have any like interesting stories you can pull for one of
them? Yeah, sure. Westworld was quite an adventure. That was we're kind of a smaller shop, but when not really set up for high profile shows, and so HBO has very strict security protocols, I guess you'd call them. So we kind of scrambled to get things set up. Like they wanted biometric locks on server access, and none of the workstations could have thumb drives or USB access, and you had to have curtained locked rooms for anybody that was working on the show so that people couldn't see the footage. And key coded entries, anybody that comes in and out of the building, logged entries. It's just they are very particular about having their footage stolen.
That's right. They want no pirating of Westworld, none.
Yeah. So I mean, you don't think about the kind of security protocols that vendors go through, so we couldn't have any remote work. We couldn't have anybody that was offsite work on the project, and it was they were filmed on so it was a little bit surprising. This is the first time I worked on a film show, and film, when you're getting the plates from like an Alexa, everything is pretty. You have a LUT that you plug in and it looks gorgeous and you can see what you're getting. With film shows, the DPX film scans are really ugly, and it's hard to get that dialed into where it looks nice. It was surprising to me how much better an Alexa camera looks than even 35 scans. It was surprising. I was very disappointed in the look of the film scans compared to Alexa. It shows how much cameras have developed. They just it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And that long ago, when I was in film school, film was the unattainable standard. We shot everything on film and then scanned it, and 35 was just too expensive. And the idea that a digital camera could look anything remotely like what you're getting with film was absurd. And we were paying thousands of dollars for the privilege of shooting on film. And now, the film scan looks worse than a digital camera.
Yeah.
So that was a nightmare.
Yeah. Oh man, I've heard that before with people who shot what's the name of that show? Oh, Stranger Things. They shot it all digital, and then they went back with a film type of filter. I think that was found in like one of the like digital programs like Photoshop or something, and that's how they got that kind of look over the film.
Oh, like they added film grain to it, like a heavy film grain?
Like a film grain or something, and everything was just shot digital, but like, going for the 80s nostalgia look, they put like a film grain filter over it as if it was shot over like, like actual film,
That's
so,
funny.
Yeah, it is. It's like you're using technology and stuff to try to get away from all of these old primitive things, and then we're going right back to the way it looks, with the technology.
Yeah, it's expensive too. Working with film, where you're starting from is not a great looking image, whereas Alexa with the LUT that they give you is already right out of the box, gorgeous. Color balance is already set. I don't know. It's crazy.
It is crazy, dude. But one thing that I like about everything going digital is that all our movies and stuff will be saved. Everything that we have now is already saved in some kind of digital copy to a cloud somewhere, someone's hard drive. Unless it just gets corrupted by a virus, it's always there. Unlike film, it has to be like taken care of, got to preserve it. It's stored in salt mines and stuff like that,
Yeah, that's true. The archival process for film is crazy. It degrades, doesn't last.
No, it doesn't, and we've lost a lot of movies and stuff because of that. A lot of movies, a lot of older movies. I mean, I'm an older movie fan, but so.
But so, somebody's watching them.
Yes, he's watching all these old movies. Who these black and white anymore? We got color. Everything's colorized. And then, that's right. So, tell us a little bit more about what you guys do over there at Cosmic, if you don't mind.
So we maybe I could show you. I just finished building or updating our website. It has a lot of the most recent projects. Maybe I could share that and talk a little bit about some of the stuff that's on there.
Cool.
Let's see. Let's try this.
There you go. Awesome.
So this is kind of has a lot of stuff from Dwight. Dwight was a great project because it had such a variety of different types of effects. And so
there we go.
We did some stuff on Westworld. We've been doing a lot of Hallmark movies recently, where we did. So this was we did pumpkins, digital pumpkins for set replacements. These are kind of we do a lot of this, but these are the less complicated shots, but more quantity of shots. And they are fun. So we kind of do a mix of like 3D and 2D. So the 3D pumpkin patches mixed in 2D fall leaves. So Hallmark is interesting because they do such a large quantity of movies where we're kind of trying to tap in how to best help them. They do something like 95 movies a year.
It's a lot of movies.
Yeah. It's
They don't play. Almost coming out with a movie a week.
it's pretty bonkers. And then Dwight, when we're doing things like these crazy dragon creature shots, these are awesome and amazing and fun, and they take forever. We just don't get to do very many of them because throwing in fall leaves behind mountains is a lot more. It's requested a lot more. But if I had my choice, this is kind of the direction that I would be more interested in taking. Unfortunately, we just kind of have to do the work that's available.
Yes, you do.
So Dwight was a really good mix of a lot of magical effects and creatures. So what they did is they had like for every expensive episode, they had 3 or 4 less expensive episodes. And so they try to pace out the creature work with a lot of less expensive magic-y kind of things. And so each episode had a different creature, each of the expensive episodes. So these are the kind of the 3 big ones that we got to do. They had this talking frog, the fire-breathing dragon, and this dog that turns into a little puppy that turns into a hell beast and eats people.
Oh, what a puppy. Now that's always fun to do right there.
Yeah, so these were, TV is a challenge because the time that they have to get the effects done and the budget that they have to work with is very limited. They're not giving you 6 months to work on a fire-breathing dragon. They're giving you a couple weeks. So like this, I think we had 1 month for this episode where we had something like 60 shots of this creature transforming and attacking people, which was pretty challenging for us. We're not really set up for that scale of work. So it requires a lot of scale up, scale down, scale up in order to handle that. So I think there's interesting challenges that come with different types of work. If we're working on feature films, you have larger budgets, but larger expectations, and then how you're producing it, you can get off the rails quite quickly. Whereas TV, you have a limited budget, but also limited time. So you're not going to get off the rails too far because then you got to deliver.
That's
Whereas
right.
in feature film, they can just endlessly revise things. And so your budget margin gets smaller and smaller as they revise things. So with TV, they know they've got a small window to work with, and they've got to hit what they're going to get in that small window, and then they're done. So this one, we had a little bit of extra budget that we talked them into for this creature. We got them to give us enough to go hire Abner Marin was the guy that sculpted this for us. So he did Groot, I think, and some other larger profile creature designs. So we kind of talked them up into spending a little bit of extra money on doing that. And this, for a TV budget, that's not typical. So they gave him, Abner took 2 weeks, which was also a little bit of a trick to work that into the schedule. So he sculpted this in a couple of weeks. And then from there, we took it, did the rig and look development on the body, and then animated it and worked it into the shots. But having a great creature to start from is amazing.
That's right.
We're a small enough shop that we don't have creature artists that are designing and sculpting creatures in-house. where what I do is a lot of generalist work, so I have to wear a lot of different hats. So I try to kind of pick the middle ground of skill sets, which is lighting and look development and compositing, and then
Okay.
sometimes animation if I have time. But then the outliers that we don't use that much and that are a very specific skill set are sculpting and rigging, except I end up having to rig a lot too. But rigging and sculpting are the specialists we like to bring in, where we have the generalist hat that we wear with compositing and animation and lighting, look dev, and then that's beyond. We like to bring in the sculpting artists.
Yeah. He did a good job on that. I like the sculpt that he has on there. It kind of reminds me of the dogs from Ghostbusters.
Yes, that was the inspiration.
Yeah.
They said, make us one of those gargoyle dogs, demon
Yeah.
beast thing.
Dude, that movie was awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Dude, that's a good job on that. His work stands out. It looks scary. I wouldn't want to meet that thing in the alley.
No, that's kind of one of those end your life quickly kind of things.
Yeah, it's like, well, it's over.
We did, in addition to that, we did a lot of fluid effects kind of magic where
Okay.
ghost or smoke and things like that. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool right there. I really like effects when able to do like elemental things, water or smoke, fire. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
that
cool.
stuff is a lot of fun. And you mix that in with magic, and it's a little bit more fun than typicals. We did a lot of, I mean, it's a magic show, so we had people transforming into things and getting turned into mirrors. So we got do a lot of magic effects. So we
Oh,
had
look at that. That's
liquefied this
awesome.
guy. She comes out of the smoke. A lot of fun
Hmm.
stuff.
Well, yeah, that's a lot of fun stuff, man. They they were never able to do anything like this, like back in the old Doctor Who days or anything like that.
Yeah, for
But
TV, it's just unheard of. That
yeah, it is, and it's amazing to see how far we've progressed with our technology, and we're able to bring like cinematic movie grade material and put it right there in your TV. You know?
Yeah, even 5 years ago, I don't think it was very common to have high-end visual effects, just because of the turnaround. And now I think what's happened is so much of the energy that goes into feature films is transitioned into television, where television, the line is blurring between feature film and television with
That's right.
Netflix and things. So I think the visual effects kind of has merged too, where the expectations have gone up, where people want to see the high-end visual effects.
That's right. Well, people want to see that stuff. You don't just tell us about it. Show us somebody getting zapped and or electrocuted by some lightning or something. I want to see it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, so these episodes on Dwight, they shoot for 4 days per episode.
Okay.
So that's a pretty tight schedule.
It is a pretty tight schedule.
So if you're talking about, they're delivering a show during their airtime, they're delivering one show every week, unless they're dropping 10 episodes at once. So they're trying to work their post schedule in where they don't want you to be taking more than 3 weeks on an episode. And then you're stacking several episodes on top of each other. So it can get pretty overwhelming when you have, like a complicated episode like this, where you have big effect simulations and they want it done in 2 to 3 weeks on top of the show that you still haven't finished. It can get pretty crazy.
I bet it can. Producers can get pretty livid if they don't get back their stuff in their own time. Sweet
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, I mean, if they're shooting an episode every 4 days, so they're shooting them back to back. So they'll shoot the whole season in a couple of months.
Yeah.
So that means that they're sitting around waiting for post, and that puts a lot of pressure on us to get things delivered, because they're done. Their production is wrapped, and they're just sitting around waiting. So asking for more time doesn't go very well.
I bet it doesn't. Do you ever have a scenario where they have to do reshoots and then you have to go back in there and add your effects back into the picture?
No, we haven't done any. We have never had that happen. Um,
Uh,
yeah, we get asked to fix things that they shot, but
yes. I bet like, hey, fix this. Yeah. I remember that scene, Westworld, one of my favorite ones. Uh, I really I really like
yeah,
the um the technology that's being presented there, with the 3D printing.
yeah, that's crazy. That's the whole concept of the show that you can biologically print ro robots.
Yeah. I mean, even like the bull and stuff, like, I'm a 3D artist myself, but actually looking at it and like seeing the mechanics of it, and knowing somebody had to model that, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So the Westworld stuff wasn't, the most glamorous stuff, but it was fun. We did primarily like we painted out these lights and painted out wires and did some 3D comp on the bulls coming through the door.
Hmm.
Uh, and that, I think that's kind of an interesting lesson is that when you're working on higher profile stuff, you're not getting the highest profile work. You kind of work your way up as a vendor, where they're
Yeah.
not going to trust us with their A-list shots. They're going to give them to an A-list vendor.
Okay.
But for us to get even their C-list shots was a privilege because then it allows us to work our way up.
Yeah, it sure
So
does. And it's flawless. I can't see anything negative about the shot at all.
yeah, it's funny. We watch the show and you don't realize there's those fluorescent lights everywhere.
Yeah. Like what those lights doing? You know?
Yeah,
Yeah. I
wires and
don't,
things.
Yeah. I used to like watch older shows and then you can actually see the special effects in there. Even if it like had that outline on it, like from that blue screen that they used to have. But now it's just like
Yeah.
it's almost seamless, you know. It's getting to that point where it's almost seamless and it looks so much. It's awesome. I really like it. I like where the industry is going, with the visuals. Can't beat it.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Computers get faster. So like we just made a big push to upgrade all of our equipment to handle 4K. And that was a
Hmm.
previous, the last 5 years or 5 years ago, we budget wise would stipulate 1080 deliverables for VFX because the render times for the 3D and the render times for composite, you go 4 times as much for 4K. So it takes 4 times as long to render everything. So we just updated all of our equipment and now everything runs faster at 4K than it did at 1080 on our older equipment.
Right.
So it's crazy how quickly new chips, new graphics cards, just so much faster
Oh yeah.
that it makes us be able to do our job faster and deliver higher resolution and shorter turnaround, which of course that translates to an immediate expectation from the client that that's what you will be doing.
Yes. We just heard you had upgrades. We want
Yeah.
our stuff now.
Yeah.
How soon is now? Right now.
Yeah. We want it done. Done.
Yeah. Hmm. Awesome. So what programs are you using to make some of these effects? Is it like After Effects or you guys like playing Photoshop?
So we use primarily Nuke and Maya,
Look
and
at
then we
mine.
render with Redshift. So Redshift is one of those things like instead of rendering with Arnold on a CPU farm, Redshift is a GPU rendering engine. So it
Okay.
renders. I don't know, Arnold is getting pretty fast, and Arnold has a GPU accelerated one. But back in the days of the CPU only, we were getting some like for each graphics card, we were getting the equivalent of maybe 2 or 3 CPU boxes So if we have 18 graphics cards, then that translates to 150 node render farm. So we're able to have a pretty massive equivalent of the CPU Arnold farm with Redshift in a very small space. It's just, we have two computers that have 7 graphics cards each, and then another computer with 4. So those combined is able to render anything we can throw at it. It's pretty amazing.
That's cool. I like that. Yeah, because rendering right there, that's a big amount of your time. If you don't have
Yeah.
anything to push that stuff out, it's like, well, we'll be rendering for another couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, CPU rendering, you can get into several hours per frame per node pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Redshift, that's, maybe 5 minutes per frame per node.
Can't beat it. Well, I'm sure like in the next couple of years it'll be like even faster and stuff.
Oh
So
yeah, I mean the graphics cards that are coming out, the 2080s and I guess the 3080s when they come out, each generation is significantly faster than the
yes,
previous generation.
exactly. It's like, oh, I gotta get that. My computer's so slow now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's what we use, Nuke for compositing and Maya for pretty much everything else. We probably, if we were a larger shop, we would probably have Houdini specialists that would be working on simulations.
Yeah.
But it all kind of, with Redshift, it all renders. It's pretty agnostic to the program. It renders out of Houdini or whatever. So the great thing about 3D apps is they've, there's so much that works between the two to share files with the Limbic that you can have a mixed bag of artists with different program preferences and still work together on the same project.
Mm-hmm. Sure can. I'm I like Autodesk myself. I'm a big 3ds Max fan. We teach Maya at DMI and also like Nuke up there as well. So I'm a big fan of those programs. I love 3ds Max. I have a lot of control in that program, as far as like building 3D models and stuff. And I really do. I like it. I like it a lot.
We invest a lot of time in learning the interface of how the software works, and it's hard to switch and start over. I had to start when the first company that I worked for was a Lightwave company. So they made a feature film with Lightwave. The first 2 movies I worked on were Lightwave. And Lightwave is very different than Maya. So it was quite an adjustment having to start from zero basically with Maya.
Yes.
It took probably about a year to become as proficient in Maya as I was in Lightwave.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to do that very many times.
That's the only bad thing about learning a new program. It's like, especially if you have a high level in one already, and it's like you got to start all over again. Oh, who does?
Yeah.
Do you? Hey, Ben, before we get out of here, do you have like any kind of like words of encouragement for our students or anybody who's watching right now?
Yeah, sure. I would say, when you're first starting out and you're looking at people who are further along in the industry, it's easy to get discouraged, especially when you're looking at people's animation or people's art reels, feeling like you don't measure up. And I think it's important to remember and recognize that everybody that you're looking at where you are now at some point in their life. So 20 years ago, I was at 0, right? And so everybody's at that point at some point. And I think you just have to not compare yourself to people who have a lot more experience and feel like you'll never measure up, because you will. And it's a matter of time. I think that's the biggest thing that I've tried to do, is to avoid comparing myself to other artists and feeling discouraged because I'm not as good as they are. When it's just a matter of time and application to get to where they are. And I think feeling encouraged or inspired by other artists rather than threatened, I think is the ticket to progressing as an artist and developing, right? And not, because I feel like in my past, that's always that nagging weight of looking at another artist and feeling, oh man, I'm never going to be that good, so I might as well give up.
Like,
Instead of being inspired and saying, that is so amazing, the thing that they have accomplished, I want to be able to do that too. And I'm going to work very hard to get there. You just kind of get overwhelmed. But I think that it's really important to recognize that everybody has the potential to get there, and you shouldn't feel discouraged, because given enough time and energy put into that, you will be just as good as they are. Art is a kind of a weird thing, and I think that we're very judgmental. Like the most judgmental people in my life have been other artists.
Right.
Instead of being the most encouraging, like you would want them to be on your team, and we're all in the same industry and we're working together and this is a collaborative, but it's not like it's harsh. And I don't think that it necessarily needs to be that way. Like you show your stuff to people who are not artists and they're like, wow, that's so amazing. That's so great. And then you show it to other, like same with filmmaking. I think it's probably the same with any artistic endeavor, is that artists are naturally, I don't know, have that self-preservation instinct to criticize.
I'm not going to tell him it looks nice.
It's terrible. Yeah. It's terrible.
That's right. You're shading. Look at that. Look at those lines.
Where it's like if they acknowledge that you're good, that means they're bad. They can't both be good.
Yeah.
And that's a kind of a funny phenomenon that I think is, I think it's detrimental. Like instead of finding the ways of being constructive and build each other, we tend to tear each other down, and embracing the competitiveness rather than collaborative spirit. Even on production work, where I've worked with different directors, and some of the directors take the attitude of, we're on a collaborative team and we're developing this project together, and let's talk about how to get from where we are now to where we want to go. That's director A. Director B is the dark, critical, cynical, tear you down and not give you any
no
positive direction. It's just, you're a terrible artist. Why are you doing this? So I've worked with both kinds, and at the end of the day, the one that you can continually work with is the kind that's collaborative and building you up, and you work together on making a better product.
That's right.
Anyway, that's kind of that has been my experience. And so I taught at the University of Utah here for a while. I taught lighting, animation, modeling, and look development. And so I tried, was kind of the focus of my class, is trying to push students to see their potential and not worry about where they are now, and not worrying about criticizing other people or taking criticism from other people, because it doesn't matter. They're going to get to where they want to go. You shouldn't feel bad. Like taking the emotion out of art, the emotion in the sense of your emotional attachment to your artwork, and making it something that you create, and your self-esteem is not tied to that thing that you created.
That's right.
And that's really hard.
It is.
And I guess working in years in commercial has helped with that, because you'll put in your blood, sweat, and tears into doing something, and the client will come in and say, no, let's change all of that. And that happens day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out, where someone is saying, throw that away, let's take a new direction. And you have to just say, you know what, they're paying for it. It's their product, it's their idea, and I have to separate myself from this work that I just made. So working at school, that's not where you start. Usually you start very defensive and saying, well, I did this because I, as an artist, made a conscious decision to do that this way, and I'm not going to change it. And that doesn't work in the world where someone else is paying you.
That's right.
Someone else is paying you, they're going to have it their way.
You're gonna have to learn to be like Burger King.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that's
Man,
that emotional, like separating out that emotion from it is that's that has been an important lesson that I've learned is taking direction from from artists. Like at the animation studios I worked at, you have an animation director, and he's coming in and saying, as a new fresh set of eyes on this, what I'm seeing is that there's these issues, and let's work on those. And there are some artists who say, some animators would come in and say, no, I did it on purpose that way. And others who would say, yeah, okay, I can objectively take feedback and work on improving that. And so that's not getting defensive and being able to take critiques. That allows you to separate the emotion away and take the next step up in your work. So
that's right. It does. You got to develop that tough skin and just learn to know they're not tackling you personally. They're just not satisfied with the picture. You know,
they just want it different.
that's all they want. They just want it different. Maybe a different shade of red next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ben, thank you for joining us today, Ben. I really do appreciate it. And I really, really have enjoyed our talk. It's been awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a great. I've really enjoyed my time teaching, and I think that's like the next generation of artists. We need them, and so it's it's good to be encouraging and to want them to continue developing their skills so that they are ready to take. When I retire, if people say I don't want to do visual effects and there's nobody else, and all the current artists retire, somebody's got to pick up the flame and continue the work.
That's right. Somebody has to continue on, and fight the good fight. Somebody has to do it. That's right. And they need instructors and they need teachers to encourage these people in order for them to do so too. So yeah. Awesome. So guys, check out Ben's work in the studio, Cosmic Pictures. Look up this stuff, check out the website, enjoy these shows that they've been working on that we sweat over these computers and stuff. Enjoy this good artwork that these guys have been producing, because I have. All right, Ben, thank you once again for joining us. We really have appreciated your talk and your words of encouragement.
Yeah, for sure. This has been good.
Cool. All right, guys, we'll see you Friday. You guys stay nice and cool. Stay out of this heat. Do some artwork. All right. Bye-bye. Bye, man.
All right. See you.